All right. What's going on, everybody? My name is Yoon Kim. If we are meeting for the first time, nice to meet you. I know I haven't been posting actively on this channel anymore. Primarily, the reason is, last year I got involved with the sales world, and at the same time, I got picked up to be a part of a startup, and I was able to help the team scale to multi six figures to now. We should be hitting seven figures in the next month or two, and so a lot of my time has been devoted to that. And so as much as I wanted to come back to YouTube, it's just not something that I really plan to do right now. But I remembered why it was important for me to make this video and to put content out there. And it's really for two reasons, right? Number one, it's more of a selfish reason, is to just document the process, document the journey that I'm on to achieve $10 million. And at the same time, I remembered one of the things that's important for me is to show and be vulnerable and be very open and transparent with people, to show what's possible, right, financially during your time in the military. I'm still in the military. It's this upcoming June, it's May right now, this upcoming June is going to be my 7-year mark in the military. And it's just been an absolutely just crazy, wild journey that I've been on so far. And I'm going to share with you guys my backstory of basically how I got to the States, how I joined the military. Some of you are already familiar, but some of the stories that you're not going to be familiar is kind of what happened, after I finished my time at sea, came to Shore Command in Maryland and started a business, and kind of where the trajectory of my life is going, because it's just absolutely just, one of those things. So just so everybody has some context. I was born in Korea, Seoul, South Korea. Came to the United States when I was 8 years young, and I grew up in I would say not so great neighborhood. Not because there was a lot of crime, but because there was, it's a low income area, and when you're in a low income area, you're surrounded by people with not so great mindset when it comes to just money mindset, at least, right? And my parents are amazing people, loving people, but when it comes to finances, they weren't the most motivated individuals to achieve anything financially for themselves. But they did the best that they possibly could for my brother and myself, right? And I have nothing but gratitude and nothing but things to thank them for the sacrifice that they made to come to the U.S. And so, growing up, financially, I always saw my parents struggle or argue. And at the same time, I loved playing games at the time. My parents were, thankfully, though, individuals where they weren't like, very strict, typical Asian parents where it's all about studies or academics. They gave me a level of freedom where I could kind of do whatever I want as long as, I was responsible, and they've always trusted me. And so I had the freedom to play games a lot, and as a result, academically, I always suffered all throughout my academic life. Elementary school, middle school, high school, I just never really did too well, even in college. But one of the things that really came out of me playing games a lot is a level of love of playing the game of money, right? I loved buying and selling, trading, in-game, currencies. One of the games I really loved playing was a game called Maple Story, and I achieved a billionaire status in there, which not a lot of people get to, and I just love that, right? And MTV Cribs was going on at the time, and I was like, man, I want to live in one of those houses one day. And so with that kind of money drive, hunger, starting high school, I hustled, right? I was a hustler, playing card games, making, $1,000 in a year, as a, 16, 17, 18-year-old student, was a huge thing. At the same time, I used to sell, I go to Costco, buy, Skillet packs and sell those packs for $1. I had a YouTube channel where I did origami and started making some money there. But, because I was surrounded with people with limiting beliefs, right? Like my best friends at the time would always make fun of me, like, why are you making YouTube videos about, how to fold origami whale, right? And it always discouraged me, right? Even my brother would say, like, what if you sell a Skittle and somebody gets sick and they sue you, right? Or my parents, I bought I still use the lighting setup that I bought back then. My parents got furious because I bought, professional, green screen lighting gear for $200, the money that I made, playing card games, and, they got really, really upset. And so it always limited my ability to thrive entrepreneurially. And, when I graduated high school, June of 2012, I obviously went to college, but at the same time, I got involved with, multi-level marketing, MLM, pyramid scheme, quote unquote businesses, which, I don't recommend people go into. But one of the things that I really, really loved about, that culture is the people with the business mindset, which really helped me kind of cultivate and kind of ignite the world of personal development, right? This is where I really met, online, like Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins and all that kind of stuff, and started learning and growing within myself. But in terms of, financially, I wasn't doing too well. I was just struggling, right, as a broke college student, going to community college, paying for the degree out of my own pocket, bought a car at the time, brand new car, paying for that, working at Hollister for minimum wage and got promoted to the storeroom manager, working at Abercrombie and Fitch, working at a watch repair store full time. Just financially, I wasn't, happy. And I remember sitting down, it was about 2014 in November, sitting down in my school's library, writing my English paper and just saying to myself, man, like, this isn't so fun anymore. Like, it's already like over 2 years out of high school. I'm not even close to my associates. I'm not even know where I wanted to be financially. I thought I was going to be a millionaire by then. But it's like, what in the world is going on in my life? And then at that moment, I remember a quote popping up, and it said, when nothing goes right, go left. And so I began to think about something that I've never thought about doing, which was the military. And so decided to join the Navy. It's probably too much Family Guy. It's too much, watching Stewie with his, sea little, things. And decided to join the Navy. And I just knew I wanted to accomplish two things. I was like, okay, by the time I finish my time in the military, by my end of my 5-year contract, I'm going to have a lot of money, right? Because I'm going to save every penny that I possibly can. And I'm going to become the best version of myself. Didn't really know what that meant or how that was going to look like exactly, but that was just my two goals. And late 2015, 2016, 2017 was one of the hardest times in my life ever. I was sent to the USS Abraham Lincoln, which was going through a process called reactor complex overhaul. And this is where an aircraft carrier goes through a half-life. They're in the shipyards, and sailors are, in the beginning for a little bit, I was living in the barracks, but we were forced to live in the ship, in the construction zone, in a place called Newport News. And it's a place where I really wouldn't recommend anybody live, because it's extremely difficult. There's a lot of factors where it affects your mental health in many, many levels. And during that time, it was very challenging. And when you see a lot of my older YouTube videos, in the beginning, you see me in a room, but later on, you see me in those like random places, just kind of bumming it. It was because I was living in the ship, and I tried to, as much as I can, possibly, get out of the ship and, walk around and go to places, which there wasn't a lot of places to go. But during that time was extremely difficult for me because I was trying to find my purpose. I was trying to find my peace. And a lot of my YouTube videos at the time seems like it was complaining that, I genuinely didn't like the people that I worked with. I genuinely didn't like my chain of command. I genuinely didn't like the Navy. And there was so many things that I didn't like. And to a lot of people, it seems like it's complaining, which in many cases it is. But at the same time, it's an emotional distress. It's a way for me to cope emotionally of what's going on. And I just remember at that time, one of my mission that started to become forged, and this is something that I wanted to accomplish before I joined the military, and the reason why I created this channel is to show people, what's financially possible in the military, and what the military is actually like. And just throughout that process, I had a good level of support, within the military, and I had a strong enough goal and love for my family to just keep pushing through. And because I could have quit along the way, I could have gotten out. There was many avenues that I could have gotten out of the military, but at the end of the day, it was for my family, for myself, for the future. So I stuck it out. And during this process, I just saved as much as I possibly could, all my money. And it wasn't easy to do that. I thought it was going to be easy that, in the military, they give you a place to live and a place, food to eat. But all those factors were just absolutely garbage. And it was super hard. And I tried to save as much money as I can. And I did, which eventually resulted in, 5 years later, me just having $130,000 by continuing to save money, invest into courses, invest into books to educate myself in learning how to invest in the stock market. And I was able to get to $130,000 or 140, something like that, at my 5-year mark in June, 2020. And then I had to make a difficult decision of, do I continue investing and growing, or do I give a gift to my parents? Because I recognized at that time that it was a good opportunity to buy a house, right? Which was mid 2020, late 2020, right? I recognized that it was a good opportunity, and at the same time, I wanted to really give back to my parents. And so that's exactly what I did. Unfortunately, I couldn't use some of the benefits of the military because the house was in Pennsylvania and I was in Maryland. So I spent $100,000 to buy my parents a house, a down payment, for a $330,000 property. And I started again from 30K, and I was able to, I got involved with sales, started really learning, and started, becoming a part of a startup, and I was able to get back up to, 100K. But throughout, 2021, I invested heavily into myself. Right about $50,000 into myself in mentorship, coaching, businesses, and even right now, later on in May, I spent $5,000 just to go speak and ask one question to Gary Vee, Pat Bet David, and Alex Hormozy is also going to be there, and just $1,000 on a plane ticket, $1,000 on a hotel, just living just a crazy life now, because being part of the startup, being part of the growth process, and we have a small, lean and mean team where everybody's a high performer, which kind of made me steer away from my YouTube channel. For example, just last month, in the month of April of 2022, this year, I think I finished out at about $15,000, just money in my pocket. And, it's not that I have greed for money anymore. Money is just, I am in it to really enjoy the game of entrepreneurship, enjoy the game of just growing a business, and really the ultimate result of me putting in this work to grow the business is to obviously provide the life for my family. And I have a vision board right here of $1 million house that has a great view where my parents live, which is ultimately going to be for them, in a Tesla, which is right about $100,000 that I'm going to get for myself. And I'm just on this trajectory, on this path, on a trajectory where, I'm going to be making just insane amount of money, And all this was possible within my time in the military, which is absolutely crazy if you think about it. And the biggest thing that's holding me back is the military. If I had the time back that I spend right now in the military for my business, I would be making 20 to 30K a month. But because I spend a lot of time here in the military, it's preventing a lot of my growth. And in 2021, last year, I basically ended the year with 113K. I just did my taxes. That's kind of where I ended up. This year, my goal is to earn 250K. And then, in 2023, after I in the military, get out of the military, maybe 500K, 600K, 700K. That's very, very realistic for me. And the thing that the reason why I shared this with you guys, it's not because I want to brag. Number one, it's really not the case. It's just my money mindset has completely changed. The person that I have become has completely changed. If you see some of my older videos compared to maybe my demeanor right now, how I speak, how I think, how I view things has completely changed. My language, what I talk about, what I think about, what I do on a daily basis has absolutely changed. And it just goes to show that, even though the military wasn't much of a part of it, it created a level of foundation where it allowed me this ability, this capability, that because I was in the military, because I was able to save money, even though I was in such harsh conditions and my mental health deteriorated at an extreme degree, but because I was able to save and live through that, it put me in a financial spot where I was able to give back to my parents and invest heavily into myself, my own education, and just lose the fear of money, lose the greed of money. People that I've realized now have such a fear of money, and I have no fear. I can go back down to zero, and I don't care at all, right? Like this month just alone, I spent $7,000 just to go speak to 3 people, ask them one question a piece, for 3 days. Like that doesn't make any sense, right? But for me, I'm gonna go to that and I invest the 7K to be able to ask those questions, and I gotta do a lot of homework. And I'm gonna walk away with a $100,000 idea that's going to ultimately help, fuel and grow my business even more. And right now, there's a lot of things that I can't tell you guys, but I'm just filled with gratitude for the journey that I've been on, and I just want to share that journey with everybody because I'm nobody special, right? I'm not a smart person academically. I'm one of the the dumbest people you'll ever meet. But the thing that makes me smart is that I put in so much time, money, and energy into learning all these stuff. I've given up a lot of my old identity, right? There's nothing much that I would love to do right now than just be in my room, play video games all day, right? I would love to do that, but I can't, right? Every single day I put in the work. Every single day I wake up at 6 and go to sleep at midnight, right? And I do the same thing the next day. And right now it's Friday night. I'm 28 and I've spent the majority of my 20s in the military just saving and living a frugal lifestyle. And here right now it's Friday, almost midnight, and I'm gonna stay up all night because I'm gonna go through some of the courses that I purchased, that I invested, because I gotta level up, right? Right now I'm only thinking at multi 6-figure level, and that's all I deserve right now. But I gotta operate and think at the 7-figure level, and that's not even enough because we're trying to get to the 8-figure, 9-figure level, and it's only like 7 of us in my team, right? We're all high performers, and we're all holding each other accountable, and I just love this process because it's providing me, this is the lifestyle that I've always dreamt of, when I graduated high school, that I was going to ultimately become a millionaire and own this house. And this journey is a lot harder than I ever imagined, and it's a lot more frustrating than I've ever imagined. And it's taken a lot of growth, a lot of personal growth, more than I've ever imagined. But I absolutely love what I'm doing, and it's just going to be a crazy journey. And I wanted to share this with you guys because, number one, just kind of catch you guys up on where I am, and number two, just document, show everybody the journey of what it actually takes, because it's not easy. And I know in the future it's going to be funny because people are going to be like, oh, you got that money from your parents, or you got lucky, or anything like that. And none of that is actually involved. I'm deserving it every step of the way. And so yeah, just wanted to come in, share that with you guys. I'm about to just do some self-reflection, study some courses, and then tomorrow I got maybe take a quick cat nap, take some calls tomorrow, make some money, close some deals, and yeah, just another week of hustling. Peace.